Stephen Hawking was an amazing scientist from England. He studied space and wrote books. He's most famous for trying to explain how the universe began and for talking about really hard things in space and science. He was the first scientist to put together ideas about how space works using both big ideas from Einstein and the tiny things from quantum mechanics. Stephen William Hawking was born on the 8th of January 1942 in Oxford, England. His family moved to Oxford to be safe from V2 rockets in London. When he was young, he was really smart and had different ways of studying. After school, he went to University College at Oxford University to learn about physics. His physics teacher there, Robert Berman, said that Stephen Hawking was an amazing student. He didn't use many books or take notes, but he could solve difficult problems that other students couldn't. After getting a degree in physics, he stayed for a bit to learn about stars and space. But he didn't find watching sunspots interesting, so he went to Trinity College, Cambridge. There, he could follow his real interest, studying theoretical astronomy and cosmology. While at Cambridge, Stephen Hawking started having problems with his muscles and nerves, a kind of sickness that affects moving. This made it hard for him to move around. His talking became unclear, and he couldn't even feed himself. Doctors thought he might only live for 3 more years. But the illness slowed down, and he managed to fight his big problem and keep on doing research and talking to the public. In Cambridge, another scientist made a special talking machine for him. This machine let him talk by touching a pad. The voice from this machine became Stephen Hawking's special voice, and he liked it so much that he kept using it, even when better technology came along. But, even with the best technology, talking for him can still take a lot of time. Stephen Hawking thinks practically about his disability. Stephen Hawking mainly studied space and how things work in it. He did some really clever things, like making math for Albert Einstein's important theory. He also thought a lot about the universe, the Big Bang, and black holes. In 1974, Stephen Hawking said something amazing. He told everyone that black holes can slowly disappear by giving out energy, and this became known as Hawking radiation. He also worked with a clever person named Roger Penrose. Together, they showed that according to Einstein's important theory, space and time had a beginning in the Big Bang and will end inside black holes. Even though he's one of the smartest physicists around, he's really good at explaining tough physics ideas in a way that everyone can understand. He wrote 2 famous books, A Brief History of Time, and The Universe in a Nutshell. These books became super popular, especially A Brief History of Time, which stayed on the bestsellers list for more than 230 weeks and sold over 10 million copies. In these books, Hawking tried to talk about big science ideas in simple words and gave us a peek into how the universe works. Stephen Hawking is now one of the most famous scientists around. He often talks to the public and even shows up in popular shows like The Simpsons and Star Trek. Hawking was really good at connecting really hard physics stuff with things we see every day. Stephen Hawking gave a famous talk called the Wreath Lecture at the Royal Institute in London on the 7th of January 2016. In the late 1990s, people offered him a big honor called a knighthood, but he said no because he had problems with how the government was supporting science 10 years later. He got married to Jane Wilde in 1965 when he was studying. This was a really important moment for him because he was feeling down because of his sickness. They later separated, but they had 3 children together. Sadly, Stephen Hawking passed away on the 14th of March 2018 at his home in Cambridge.